Is Elon Musk and DOGE a threat to your Social Security benefits? I've had a surprising number of inquiries and questions and people expressing that very concern. And so I wanted to address that and give you my opinion. Now, to make it, I guess, maybe more understandable of what my opinion is on this, I want to share with you the finances of John. So John is someone who, and I've changed his name, so that's not his real name, but John's a highly skilled professional. He's a surgeon, and I'm going to share his numbers here on the screen. He has an annual income of $488,800. Now, that's a strong income for a surgeon in the United States. That's about the median income. Now, the problem with John is that he's spending $672,000. So he has established a lifestyle that is a very expensive lifestyle. He has multiple vacation homes. He has a very large boat that he's financed. He's a part of various clubs, and he has a group of people in his family that for years they have become very accustomed to living a certain way. And it's a very high lifestyle, I guess you could say. But the problem is he's not living within his means, right? So John is not saving anything. He is actually overspending every year. Now he feels, because he has the ability to earn such a nice income, he kind of feels like, well, he's always going to be able to catch up and that he can save later. You know, he can kind of push this off down the road. Not a great idea, but John is actually adding about $184,000 of new debt every year over the past several years. What would you tell someone like this? By the way, his total debt is $3.5 million. So he's got various properties and toys of all kinds. He takes big travel excursions with a big group of friends and family, and he spends a lot of money. And it doesn't take long to spend that money, right? So what kind of financial advice would you give John? I look at this and it's an absolute disaster, right? I mean, it's just a bunch of pain and sorrow that's coming down the road. It is not sustainable. He cannot keep doing this, right? He's going to end up, things are going to fall apart. His family's going to have all kinds of issues. But when I talk to him about a budget and about cutting back and living within his means, he feels like he really can't, because there's people that have become accustomed. He's very accustomed. He's got all these payments, and he feels kind of stuck. And so my advice is you absolutely have to get serious, and you have to stop overspending. What is it going to take? You might have to sell some things. You have to cut back. You've got to reduce. It's not at all appealing to him. And not only to him, but his spouse and his kids who have become very accustomed to their lifestyle and the friends that they hang out with. And so it seems like it would be easy to cut back, but it's difficult in this situation. And so let's just imagine for a minute, if we could get him to live, $3.5 million, he's got a lot of debt, right? And the first thing you need to do when you have a lot of debt, if you're in a hole, you stop digging. It's the first thing. You've got to stop digging. You've got to stop adding more debt. So let's just say he could cut back, let's say he can adjust his living to live on $200,000 or $250,000 a year. That'd be a big adjustment for him, but it would put him on such a better financial footing. That would then give him, let's say he could live on $200,000 a year. That's going to give him $288,000 a year that he could pay towards the debt. That's a very real plan where he could actually get that debt paid off over a period of time. He can start saving, which he absolutely needs to be saving and investing. Yes, he's confident that he can earn. But what if he gets sick? What if he has an accident? What if he's out water skiing and he breaks his arm or something else and he's not able to work? His ship can sink really fast, really quick, right? So it's just a very unwise and risky situation that John is in. Now, is there anyone listening to this that would disagree that he needs to get his finances in order? He really does. Now, I said I changed John's name, right? And the real name is Sam. It's Uncle Sam. So if we come back to these numbers and you take a look, these are the same numbers as our federal government. All I did was remove a bunch of zeros. So if we add the zeros back in, this is what it looks like. So annual income or revenue is $4.8 trillion. Total annual spending, $6.7 trillion. Of course, there's really we're overspending. We're not saving and setting money aside. So the new debt, just last year, this is as of 2024, $184 billion of new additional debt added to the $35 trillion. And these numbers are already much larger, right? We're approaching $37 trillion in debt. Now, it really is dangerous to all of us, economically dangerous. Because if you just look at the interest on the national debt and just see how fast that is growing, if we just go back, let's say we go back around 5 years, the interest on the national debt was $300 billion, which is a huge number, but it was only $300 billion. In just a short amount of time, around 5 years or so, that has ballooned to more than $1 trillion just interest on the debt. I mean, think of that. That is hard-earned taxpayer dollars. Over $1 trillion is just going to buy nothing. It's just paying interest on the debt. It is so out of control. It amazes me that more people don't see this. We're headed in, it's just unsustainable. A lot of times people feel like, well, it's the government. They don't have consequences. They can just print more money, right? Printing money results in inflation. Increasing the money supply, it's economics 101. You increase the money supply, you have more inflation. And we've seen that with all the stimulus and all the things that have happened. You can't get around it. It feels like you got some more money, but it just doesn't buy as much, right? So printing money is not a solution. Living with our means is the solution. Being responsible. I have for a long time, a couple of decades, I've just been in amazement. This is something I've talked about a lot. It's something I wrote about in my book. And just the irresponsibility of our politicians to allow such recklessness, And I understand they're kind of short-sighted. They've got their individual immediate goals, and that no one's really looking long-term from a financial wise. What is wise here? What is the right thing to do? It's a massive amount of problems that they're kind of pushing on to the next generation. So I've been upset about this for a long time. Now, coming back to the question about Elon Musk and DOGE. First, let's take a look at a recent interview that he just did.
The question you asked earlier, which is, how do we assure people
they want to know?
Yeah, how do we assure people that we're going to do the right thing, that their Social Security benefits will be there, that their medical care will be good, and in fact, how do we make it ensure that there's better medical care in the future? How do we improve their benefits? How do we make sure that their Social Security check goes further than it did in the past and not it doesn't get weakened by inflation? So, if we address the massive deficit spending, the waste in the government, then we can actually address inflation. So, provided the economy grows faster than the money supply, which means you stop the government overspending and the waste, and the output of real useful goods and services exceeds the increase in the money supply, you have no inflation. Yeah. And you also drop the interest payments that people pay, because if the government
way too high.
Yes, the reason the interest payments are so high is because the national debt keeps increasing. So the government is competing to sell debt with the private citizens. This drives up the interest rate. So if you cut back on the deficit, you actually have an amazing situation for people because you get rid of inflation and you drop the interest rates. And that means people's mortgage payments go down, their credit card payments go down, their car payments go down, their student loans go down, everything, their life becomes more affordable and their standard of living improves.
So, my opinion is we are losing money unnecessarily in a big bureaucracy. And I'm just totally, I didn't think it was even possible that I would see a situation where someone is going in and be able to say, let's really look at the books. Let's see where we can find some waste and plug the holes. Because it's, when you've got a big bureaucracy, you've got leaky money. You've got money leaking out all over the place. So let's plug the holes. Let's have some responsibility and accountability. We're talking about hard-earned taxpayer dollars that gets so poorly spent and wasted. It's really unnecessary. Another concept I think is really important is the concept, and I think it gets overlooked. It is the fact that we have a shrinking workforce and an aging population. So you have the birth rate in the United States is down significantly from where it used to be, right? So there's not as many, the younger generation is fewer in number in our population, with the 75 million baby boomers that are retiring. They're retiring on average about 10,000 per day. It's around 3.6 million every year. And it's going to continue at that rate for about the next 8 years. So we have all these hardworking baby boomers who are leaving the workforce, and the remaining workforce is smaller. That demographic change has huge implications. And so the importance of accurate accounting, being responsible with the finances, it will strengthen Social Security. Let me tell you, Social Security, and I've talked to a lot of people, right, of all political persuasions, and everybody feels differently about Social Security than they do with any other program. And the reason is because they know that they've been paying into it through the FICA taxes for their whole careers. They feel differently about it. And so there's been promises made, and they expect those promises to be honored. And so you can look at all the various government programs. Everyone feels differently about Social Security. There is no one that wants to get rid of it, but they want to strengthen it. And I really do think if we can get the waste cut out, that it will actually strengthen and stabilize Social Security. So, and I do not. This is not a political channel, and I know this sounds kind of political, but to me, it's just accounting. It's just basic responsibility. We have to be responsible and do the right thing. So, hope you found this beneficial. Hope it maybe gives you some peace of mind. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episode of the Financial Fast Lane.
A new edition of the Holistic Retirement Planning Revolution by Lane G. Martinson. Lane Martinson is back with an all-encompassing plan, a blueprint to guide you through the 5 W's of managing and preserving your wealth.